In 2009, Stargate was at the height of its popularity. After 10 seasons, Stargate SG-1 had released a pair of exciting DVD movies. Stargate Atlantis was about to get a movie of its own, and Stargate Universe premiered with a different take on the venerable franchise that grabbed many new viewers. Meanwhile, a massively multiplayer online role-playing game called Stargate Worlds was in development, intended to be the fourth leg of a stable franchise that would thrive for years to come. Within 2 years, it had all come crashing down, and Stargate was off the air. It left fans wondering, will Stargate ever return? Well, now in 2018, we may finally have an answer. My name is Darren, you're watching GateWorld, and today we're talking about whether there might be a fourth Stargate TV series. Maybe the most important fact to start with is this one. MGM loves Stargate. The independent Hollywood studio has owned the franchise since it acquired the rights from Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich back in the 1990s. Stargate has been a billion-dollar international success for the company. What James Bond has been for MGM's film business, Stargate was on television for nearly 15 years. Not only that, but many inside MGM are fans and want to see Stargate come back as much as you and I do. Sci-Fi Channel canceled Stargate Universe in December of 2010, December 16th to be precise. That date is important because the decision came right at the tail end of MGM's bankruptcy proceedings, when the studio was in no position to do anything about it. Executive producer Brad Wright pitched several ideas for keeping the Stargate open in some form, even a crossover movie that would tie up the loose ends from Atlantis and SGU. But there just wasn't any money for it. After some major house cleaning and new people put in charge, the studio would emerge with a fresh start on December 20th, only 4 days after SGU's cancellation. With new financing in place, it would still take a few years for MGM to figure out where to take the Stargate franchise next. Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich had created the original Stargate feature film back in 1994, and they'd been vocal for years about their desire to return and complete the story as they had envisioned it. In May 2014, they seemingly got their wish. MGM announced that it would make a new trilogy of Stargate movies with Devlin at the helm. Stargate was back. Sort of. In subsequent interviews, the producer made it clear that while he respected what the 3 television series had achieved, including building an international fan base, it just wasn't the Stargate story he wanted to tell. The new films would reboot the concept entirely, with a new cast of characters going through the gate for the first time, and wiping away 17 seasons of characters and continuity. Can you imagine Stargate with no Samantha Carter, no Teal'c, no Goa'uld? Development on the first movie kicked around for 2.5 years, with a script in the works while the team first kicked out another long-awaited 90s sequel, Independence Day Resurgence. That movie was released on June 20th, 2016, and it got pretty widespread criticism from moviegoers and critics alike. Now, it's probably not ID4's fault entirely, but by November, Devlin revealed publicly that the Stargate reboot just wasn't meant to be. He and Emmerich went on to other projects, and Stargate went back onto MGM's shelf. Now, here's where we have to remind ourselves. MGM loves Stargate. It's not just a little cable show that did pretty well. SG-1 in its day was the longest-running science fiction series ever produced in North America. It had 2 spin-offs, merchandise, fan conventions, and a massive international following. The franchise is worth more when it's out there making money, not stuck on the shelf. So the studio needed a new plan to revive one of its crown jewels. At San Diego Comic-Con in July of 2017, it announced that a new production had been greenlit, Stargate Origins. Origins was to be much smaller scale than a movie trilogy or a 4th TV show, but at least it was something. This was a 10-part, short-form web series to be streamed on a new digital platform, Stargate Command. It entered production that fall and was released in February and March 2018. As nice as it is having live-action Stargate stories back in production, fans are still asking, will there be a 4th television series? A full-length production with a full-sized budget to go with it? At this stage in the franchise history, the answer seems to be probably so. MGM is likely acting out of an abundance of caution, wanting to put out a fourth series at the right time and in just the right place. That might not mean cable television in the US, and the studio certainly has options, from streaming giants like Netflix and Hulu to smaller channels that it owns or operates. It's not far-fetched to conclude that Stargate Origins gives MGM a relatively inexpensive opportunity to test the waters, gauge fan enthusiasm and appetite for more trips through the ancient portal. And the response has been pretty good. Even if the final product shows its budget, fans are talking about Stargate again. And they're clearly hungry for more, with a fan campaign quickly organized to generate a tweet storm of activity in March of 2018, hoping to show the studio that its commitment to reviving Stargate isn't misplaced. The bottom line, Stargate's return in a fourth TV series probably isn't a question of if, but of when. We'd also like to see a continuation of what has come before instead of a blank slate reboot. In the new golden age of content and a widening array of distribution methods, what really remains to be seen is what kind of show it is, where it ends up, and what the studio envisions for Stargate's future. Be sure to leave us a comment below and tell us what you'd like to see out of a fourth Stargate series. Subscribe now to GateWorld on YouTube, and remember to hit the alerts button to find out about the latest videos. And you can always find the latest Stargate news and conversations on our website, gateworld.net.